Hey you guys, what's up? It's your girl Bondy Blue, and I am back for another review of Rebel on BET. Yes, y'all. Okay, so let's get into it. Rebel takes herself to the doctor because y'all know this is the morning after she got dropped off back at her apartment after being drugged at Texas Club. And when she looks in the mirror that morning, she has "back off" written on her chest in shoe polish. So she spends the next couple of days trying to get that shit off her chest. Not only that, but when she takes herself to the doctor's office, she is in fear that somebody might have raped her. The doctor does an examination, but the tests still have to come back, in a day or so. So she has to just have that on her mind, in the back of her mind for the rest of this episode. She has to take the Plan B pill, which got her throwing up and feeling sick. And it's just, obvious that this really shook her. This really scared her. It could have been much worse, especially if, somebody decided they wanted to gang rape her or some shit like that, which we don't think that's what happened. And we find out that that's not what happened. She didn't get raped. But still, it could have happened, and nobody wants to go through that shit, okay? Especially after going through everything she's been through and what she's trying to do, which is just find out what the fuck happened to her brother, okay? Now, because her drink was spiked and the person who handed her drink was Dreadman, she goes over to Brim and Dreadman's little apartment where they in there knocked out sleep. Brim got the burner. Brim got the burner. Shout out to the lady. She tells Dreadman to get the fuck out before she split Brim's wig. And when Dreadman leaves, he's an underling. So she's like, all right, Brim, keep it real with me. What the fuck is going on, bruh? And he says the night Malik got killed, he and Malik were going to a party thrown by Texas. And right outside the party, some dudes try to pull Brim into a fucking van like a pedophile with puppies in the back. But I guess they weren't counting on him and Malik fighting back so hard because they fought back. He drops his gun, Malik picks it up, and y'all know what happens next, okay? Now, Rebel asked him, do you think Texas is the one that tries to kidnap you? And he like, man, look, I don't know, but I know he is known for making motherfuckers disappear. So now we wondering if it was Texas that did that to her from jump. I think it was. Like, how I end up in your club with a fucking spiked drink and it's not on you, but this is what you do. You kidnap people and make them go missing and shit. And they were just trying to scare her to back off. And we all know that he has something to do with those police officers that got away with killing her brother. So moving along, y'all, she goes home and there's a lady standing at her door. So we get like a little flashback, okay? Basically what happened was that this is the mother of this guy named Kevin who was killed. It was Mac and Rebel's first little case together. And also it was her first case as a detective. So she feels like this responsibility to try and solve it if she can. The mother comes to her and is like, look, Chris, the guy who she thinks killed her son, is terminally ill in prison. He's about to die. He maybe has a couple of weeks. And she wants Rebel to go and talk to him so that he can confess to killing her son. When she goes to the scene of the crime to kind of, like refresh her memory on what happened, it makes it clear that they are taggers, okay? They spray paint, vandalize, whatever the fuck you want to call it. But they got tags and shit all over the place. And I guess these guys were artists and spray painters and just were artists, period. But really, they were taggers, okay? So she goes back to the scene of the crime where he was killed, and Mac shows up. She gets sick because of that Plan B pill, and Mac is like, look, won't you let me help you? Won't you let me drive you? Whatever, So it's obvious that she kind of didn't want to work with Mac, but she got love for Mac, and she believes Mac. So she's like, all right, fine, you can help me. I ain't feeling good and shit. You could help me on this case since it started out being our case anyway. Fine. Meanwhile, TJ is trying to get a loan so that his contractors don't put the kaputs on the expansion for his housing for the vets, right? And he goes to the bank and the guy is like, look, your credit score is not good enough and you need somebody to co-sign. So now TJ has to find somebody to co-sign. And we figure he's going to ask his wife. They're back together now. One of his soldiers who was there during the time when the contractor was telling him, you ain't got no money, okay? You don't get no work, all right? And one of the soldiers comes up to him and like, look, boss, if you need help, here's the number to this guy. I know he's good when you're in a pinch. And it's, of course, it's a fucking loan shark. TJ doesn't want to deal with that. He doesn't want to get his fucking arms and legs broken over a couple of $1,000s, okay? But We don't know what he's going to do because he just puts it in his pocket and saves it for later. We don't know whether he's going to ask Rebel, whether he's going to try to come up with the money another way, or is he going to call the loan shark, which is going to set a whole nother chain of events, which might end up being bad. Mac and Rebel go to see the store owner, Chris, who they all believe killed Kevin because Kevin decided to rob Chris's store. Chris owned a store where they sold t-shirts and skateboards and, the tags from the artists that, spray paint the buildings and shit like that, local artists, whatever. So he sold all of this little merchandise in his store. He was laundering money through his store. Kevin and his friend Otis steal $24,000 from him, and I guess to pay for art school. It wasn't just so that they could have. I believe Kevin was trying to go to art school. Kevin wanted a store like his. Kevin was really jealous of Chris in that way. And he knows that Kevin stole the money. But he promises that, look, I'm about to die. I did not kill him. So they take it back to the person who said Chris was the killer in the first damn place, which was Otis, the BFF, who now is smashing Kevin's ex-old lady. And it's like, wow, this looks shady as fuck. This looks really shady. Of course, they say they had nothing to do with it. Their love is real, all of this bullshit. But while there, Rebel sees a t-shirt that has a tag on it that she saw covering Kevin's tag on the wall where he was killed. So she's like, who is this artist? And they're like, oh, some druggy artist that we tried to help out and we bought a couple of his merchandise, whatever. So Rebel is going to go try and find him so that they can talk to him because he could possibly be the person that killed Kevin. TJ comes home to find a very sick Rebel being escorted to her door by Mac, and he runs up and is like, man, look, what's wrong, baby? You all right? Give me my wife keys, nigga. The fuck? Rebel goes inside. And he like, you're not supposed to be working with her, right? And Mac is like all in his face. Mac got a real asshole side to him that makes me feel like he's a little bit more guilty than he's leading on. I don't know what it is. But every now and again, I get a feel from him like there's some underhanded shit going on with Mac. I don't know why. Especially when it comes to TJ. He's flaunting in his face that, look, it's not up to me. Your wife got a mind of her own. Like, what the fuck you trying to say? And so, obviously, TJ sees that it's all bullshit and calls bullshit and says, please, I know it was not her idea with your old fucked up ass, okay? Your old bullshit ass. Like, he don't like him. They don't like each other. It's very plain to see, and I'm waiting for the blows to come. But not today. Rebel and Gina aren't talking because of what happened last episode with her going off on Gina for trying to be a little fake PI, and Gina is in her feelings because she feels like, bitch, you ungrateful. So they aren't talking. So she has nobody to confide in about what happened to her. So she's kind of keeping it on the low. She hasn't told anybody but that doctor what happened to her. And now that TJ is home, it makes her feel a little bit more comfortable because she's nervous about being home now that this has happened to her and somebody has been in her spot, right? So her and TJ lay down in the bed to kick it like it's about to be the end of the night. And she asked him about what's going on with the business and what's going on with trying to get, the expansion for the vets. What's going on with that? She's very proud of him. And she jokingly tells him don't ask her for no money, which makes him put the application for the loan back into his bag. So he's not going to ask her for the cosign, right? And he also lets her know that he don't trust Mac because at the same time, whatever you might be going through, all of that is well and good, okay? But I've been shooting guns for years and I ain't never pulled the trigger unless I meant to. So TJ ain't really trying to hear that excuse shit from Mac, but Rebel obviously believes that he is going through some type of PTSD and probably was going through it at the time. So she is working her way into forgiving him. And TJ ain't really liking that shit. And I was kind of mad at him, like, why didn't you ask her for the loan? Like, just because she said that you didn't ask her for money, that's a co-signature for a loan. Why wouldn't you ask her for that? Y'all, I can't deal. TJ has like this thing about him where he'll deal with things, but if he really doesn't want to deal with things, then he doesn't. And that fucks shit up. You know what I'm saying? Like, instead of being real with her, instead of being honest, you do whatever you want to do, which eventually is him forging her signature on the loan application and taking it down there to the bank to get the damn loan. He gets the loan, but he stole pictures of her social security card, of her ID, and everything. Like, just was completely being an asshole about it. Why wouldn't you talk to her? You really think she was going to tell you no about a cosign? I just, look, I don't understand, but TJ, get your shit together. I didn't like that. Mac beeps them while they're in bed. Back to that. They were in bed. Mac beeps her. And they go and find Maceo, I think, which is the druggy artist. He's trying to run. So she hits him with the car. She jumps out the car. He tries to swing on her. And she knocks his ass out, takes a spray can and sprays all in his fucking face. What you get for trying to hit a girl, bitch. Like that. So they tie him up to a fence, handcuff him to a fence, and ask him some questions. So what they find out from Maceo is that, for one, he's too damn soft to have committed this murder. But also we figure out that a whole bunch of people didn't like Kevin. He wasn't well liked. Okay? Especially by his friend, his BFF, Otis, who seems to be trying to step into Kevin's shoes almost. Okay? So they go to the art school where Kevin supposedly went. And they look at the art and through the portfolios. And Rebel is like, this is Kevin's art. It's supposed to be Otis's art now, okay? But it's Kevin's art. So obviously, you stole your friend's art. You stole this girl. Y'all stole that money together. Y'all some thieving motherfuckers. Something ain't right in the sauce. So they basically put two and two together and think about it. It's like, okay, so probably what happened is Otis and Kevin stole that money together. They fought over the money. Otis kills Kevin, steps into his life, steals his girl, steals his art, gets into the art school he went into, buys the store he wanted to have, just basically steal old boy whole fucking life. They also find out that Otis paid the full amount for that art school, which is exactly the same amount of money that they stole from Chris. So it's like, duh. Rebel sees a drawing in the portfolio and thinks about where she saw that drawing before, right? It was at the funeral. Otis came to the funeral with a skateboard with the same drawing on it and put it in the coffin with Kevin. So she like, we gotta exhume his fucking body. I bet that's the murder weapon. Girl, yeah, that was the murder weapon, okay? Apparently, he must have been hit over the head with it because it had blood, residue on it. So now we got to bring him in because we got to talk to him because we got enough evidence to put you two motherfuckers under the jail. And if you asking me which two motherfuckers, it's Simone, his ex-girlfriend, which is now Otis' fiance, and Otis. Let me tell you how it happened. So they brought Otis in to interrogate him. He wasn't really talking, but the prince came back and it wasn't him, okay? Simone shows up while Rebel is waiting in the lobby going off about, he has rights. I want to talk to him, just like any other ghetto girlfriend. But it doesn't seem like she's there because he didn't do anything. It seems like she's there because she wants to talk to him before the cops talk to him. She goes to the bathroom. Rebel follows her in and kind of corners her in the bathroom. And, it's talking to her. And it's like, girl, look, I don't know if you know, but it wasn't Otis. And it was probably you. You trying to cover something up. The cops are going to come in here, throw you down to the ground, and put your ass in a hole that you will not be able to get out of because you didn't want to cooperate. Tell me what happened. Get it off your chest so I can help you, girl. Tell me. Okay? Like, she really lays it on. Tell me. All right? Simone starts to cry. And Simone basically tells her, it wasn't fair, okay? It wasn't fair. Basically, they stole that money together, and Kevin was trying to keep all of the money for himself. So him and Otis got into a fight. Kevin was on top of Otis, beating the piss out of him, apparently, and she picked up the skateboard and hit Kevin, trying to make him stop hitting on Otis, but he didn't get up. She didn't mean to kill him. It was an accident. Of course, when they tell this to the mother, she is distraught that his girlfriend is the one that killed him. But it seems more, likely that this is what happened. It's, obviously the truth because everybody confessed to it. And we don't really know what happens to them after that. But they going to go to jail. Okay, whether they meant to do it or not, that's some manslaughter for that ass. Rebel finally goes home and is able to rub that shit off of her chest. Okay? And that's when she sits down with her little joint. And that's when Mac comes over and she gets the phone call that she didn't have any STDs, and she's crying and telling Mac what happened to her. And he's like, I will always be there for you. And, he hugs her, and that's when TJ walks up and then walks away. And I was like, word. Now, y'all ain't gonna lie, I was a little disappointed in this episode. Not because it wasn't good, but because I wanted somebody to get their ass whipped for drugging her. I wanted somebody to get their ass beat for drugging her. Who drugged somebody's Henny? Who does that? Okay, grow the fuck up. This is not the 90s, okay? You ain't Bill Cosby, bitch. Don't be putting nothing in my drink. Shout out to Bill. Damn it, Bill. Why did you do this to us? Now you have to be known for something besides putting pops and uplifting the black community and telling these niggas to pull their pants up. Like, now I'm upset. Okay, look. Getting into it too much. Y'all, either way, after that happened, Rebel goes inside and she's by herself. She locks her doors. She locks her windows. She gets her Glock and sits in the middle of her bed like, I'm waiting for somebody to come through this motherfucker because their head gonna get blown clean the fuck off. It is obvious that this is really fucked with her. This is gonna change the dynamic of how she's gonna deal with this case. Because now that she feels that somebody has been in her space, it's been invaded, somebody drugged her, she's probably gonna go apeshit on somebody eventually. And I can't wait. I love when she beats people up. It's like my favorite part. I'm gonna need for y'all to get these fight scenes in a little bit more often. Okay? I need to see somebody whipping somebody's ass, okay? Anyway, y'all, that was basically everything that happened on this week's episode of Rebel. Please don't forget to come back for the next one. Like, comment, and subscribe. Check out the last one if you haven't. I love you guys. Thank you for watching. Please continue to come back and support Rebel. It's not just because the people from the show have shown such love towards me. It's really because we don't get to see shows like this. And if we don't support the shows, then they don't make the shows. You know what I'm saying? It's my cup of tea. Okay, I like mystery. I like black girls that kick people's asses. You know what I'm saying? And I like politically conscious shit. So this is very up my alley. I don't know about the rest of y'all, but like I said, give it a chance if you haven't seen it. Share the link. Put it out there. I appreciate you. I love you. Peace out. See you for Black Ink Crew.
On my mama, on my hood, I look fly, I look good. Touch my swag, this shit.